The Heisman Trophy is the most illustrious award of any American sport. Only one player has been a repeat winner in the history of the award, Archie Griffin. And as much as it pains me to say this, from the Ohio State. History will continue this season with the three finalists being Michael Penix Jr. out of the University of Washington, Bo Nix out of the University of Oregon, and Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Check that, 4 finalists. Marvin Harrison Jr., great player, does not have the resume to win the Heisman this season. 3 players have legitimate cases to be this year's Heisman winner. 3 players are deserving. However, the award is about which player is most deserving. In other years, each of these players would be Heisman winners, but only one can receive this high honor and join the elite ranks of guys like Marcus Allen, Barry Sanders, Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Reggie Bush, give him his Heisman back, and the late great Ernie the Express Davis. The all-important question, who is the most deserving of the 2023 Heisman Trophy? How should the Heisman Trophy winner be decided? Should the award be given to the most outstanding player? Should it be given to the most valuable player? Is the winner this year both the most outstanding and most valuable? Let's start with Michael Penix. Michael Penix has not been great statistically down the stretch of this season. He's had just one game over 60% completion percentage in his last 4 games. And we all know that completion percentage determines not only who should win the Heisman, but also which teams should make the college football playoff. Despite his lower completion percentage, he still has over 4,000 yards passing, 33 touchdown passes, 36 total touchdowns, and boasts a 3.6 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. Outside of stats, what Michael Penix has done is impact winning for his football team. Michael Penix, without a doubt, is a winner, going undefeated in the regular season, winning the Apple Cup against rival Washington State, and not only earning the chance to beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game, but actually finishing the job to help Washington win their 3rd and the Pac-12's last conference championship. Even though Michael Penix beat Oregon twice this season and helped secure Washington's place in the college football playoff, Michael Penix should not win the 2023 Heisman. He just doesn't have the numbers. One could argue statistically he had a better season last year as a junior versus this year as a senior. Still, if you look at context outside of just numbers, Michael Penix is more than deserving of his invitation to sit next to the other Heisman finalists in New York. He just shouldn't be this year's winner. Bo Nix has been phenomenal all season. Aside from throwing for over 4,000 yards, he also accounted for 46 total touchdowns, has thrown just 3 interceptions, tied for 3rd best in the country, threw for 40 touchdown passes, putting him tied for 1st in the country, has a passer efficiency rating of 186.25, which is 2nd best in the country, has completed 77.2% of his passes this season, which is 1st among all quarterbacks by a wide margin of over 3%. Bo Nix had a game this season where he threw for 6 touchdown passes in just 1 half of football. And if not for a phantom offensive pass interference call, Bo Nix would have had the record for touchdown passes in a game for the University of Oregon. Bo is also 2nd in terms of points responsible for with 280. Does all of this mean that Bo Nix deserves the Heisman over Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels is the guy who had a game with 350 yards passing and another game with 200 yards rushing. No, that's not true. Jaden Daniels is the guy who had a game with over 350 yards passing and over 200 yards rushing in the same game. 600 yards of total offense from one player. That's insane. It's so insane that Jaden Daniels is the only FBS quarterback in college football history to accomplish this feat. Tim Tebow didn't accomplish this. Cam Newton didn't accomplish this. Not even Lamar Jackson. Jaden Daniels has 90 plays of at least 20 yards this season. Michael Penix has 67 and Bo Nix has 52. That's including the Pac-12 championship game. Jaden Daniels is the clear leader in this category between the 3 quarterbacks. But that's not even the impressive part. The impressive part is the fact that Jaden Daniels is responsible for more plays of 20 plus yards than every single FBS team. To be 100% clear, there's not a single team with more plays of at least 20 yards this season than Jaden Daniels. The history doesn't stop there. Jaden Daniels has a passing efficiency rating of 208, which is the highest for any quarterback in the history of college football. Okay, but what about scoring touchdowns? There's only one Heisman winner since 2010 who has scored more total touchdowns in the regular season than Jaden Daniels. Lamar Jackson with 51 total touchdowns to Jaden Daniels' 50. Jaden Daniels reaching 50 total touchdowns puts him in elite SEC company. The only other players to reach at least 50 total touchdowns, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Bryce Young, and Joe Burrow, all Heisman winners. Even if you take away the game Jaden Daniels stat padded, which, let's be honest, he definitely did, but all of you know damn well you would do the same thing. I know I would have. The opportunity to win the Heisman Trophy comes around once in a lifetime. Let's get back on track. Even if you take out the game against Georgia State, just completely take it out, Jaden Daniels would still have more total yards than Bo Nix, who played an extra game, that being the Pac-12 championship game. 4,437 yards for Jaden Daniels to Bo Nix's 4,373 yards. If you cut Jaden Daniels' touchdowns in half from that game, going from 8 to 4 touchdowns, Jaden Daniels would have the exact same number of total touchdowns for the season as Bo Nix, and Bo played an extra game. If you took out both games against Grambling and Georgia State, Jaden Daniels would still have more total touchdowns than Michael Penix. 37 total touchdowns in what would be 10 games to 36 total touchdowns in Michael Penix's 13 games. If you took out both games against Grambling and Georgia State, Jaden Daniels would have 4,139 total yards on the year in 10 games, putting him just 61 total yards behind Michael Penix, who played 13 games this year, which would be 3 more games than Jaden Daniels in this scenario. If the Heisman Trophy is supposed to go to the most outstanding player, Jaden Daniels should win hands down. This graphic made by Cody Warsham sums up how good Jaden Daniels has been this year. Jaden Daniels is the most outstanding player this year in college football. But what about the most valuable player in college football? Does Bo Nix beat out Jaden Daniels for Heisman if the Heisman is chosen that way? The correct answer is no. Bo Nix should not win the Heisman if the award is based on the most valuable player. Bo Nix is extremely valuable, but not the most valuable. The same goes for Michael Penix. Michael Penix, you know, the guy who is also going to be at the Heisman ceremony as a finalist? He threw for 0 touchdowns against Arizona State. You know who had more touchdown passes against Arizona State than Michael Penix? Ty Thompson, Oregon's backup quarterback. It might not have been apparent in the Pac-12 championship game, but all season Bo Nix has had an amazing supporting cast. Bo Nix has been sacked just 5 times this year in 13 games. He plays with one of the best offensive lines in college football. 27.6% of Bo Nix's attempted passes prior to the Pac-12 championship game had been at or behind the line of scrimmage, and a high percentage of his passing yards have come after the catch. The Ducks have 2 of the best running backs in college football. Bucky, best contact balance in college football, Irving, and Jordan, touchdown machine, James. LSU has the edge in terms of wide receiver talent this year, having the best wide receiver in the country in Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., but both Troy Franklin and Tez Johnson are solid college wide receivers. The gap between the 2 defenses is astronomical. LSU's defense is abysmal, and that's putting it nicely. The rankings and stats don't even tell the full story. LSU has the next Micah Parsons on their roster, and instead of using him as a pass rusher, they continually drop him into coverage. Of course, until it makes sense to actually drop him into coverage when playing Alabama and Jalen Milroe, then they decide we don't need to put Harold Perkins as a spy on one of the best running quarterbacks in college football. Please make it make sense. I know Harold Perkins is really great in coverage, but your best pass rusher should be rushing the passer. People will point to the 3 losses as the reason why Jaden Daniels shouldn't win the Heisman. It's an argument in bad faith. 1, there's precedent for Heisman winners to have 3 losses. Here's the list of names. That's quite the list. 2, those 3 losses came to undefeated Florida State when they had Jordan Travis. 1 loss Alabama, a playoff team whose loss came to Texas, another 1-loss playoff team, and Ole Miss by 1 score. A game in which Jaden Daniels had over 500 yards of total offense and 5 touchdowns. Without Jaden Daniels this year, this LSU team is a 5-win team at most. LSU fans should be super excited about their future with Garrett Nussmeier, so long as he doesn't transfer, because there's a lot to like with him as a quarterback. He is a cannon for an arm, he throws the deep ball with touch, he throws his receivers open, he gets the ball out on time, he's mobile, has a great base when he throws, is able to move within the pocket without escaping too early, reload, and throw with timing and accuracy. And one of the elements talent evaluators are going to fall in love with is the fact that when Nussmeier climbs the pocket, he keeps 2 hands on the football to avoid fumbles while keeping his eyes downfield. It's early in the evaluation process, but it would be surprising if he doesn't end up as a legitimate pro prospect. Honestly, it would be surprising if he doesn't end up as a high first-round pick. This is gonna sound insane, but Garrett Nussmeier reminds me of Joe Burrow, and not just because they both played at LSU. I'm prepared for the criticism if I'm wrong on this, but Garrett Nussmeier is going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft when he does declare, as long as he cleans up the 2 flaws that kept him out of the starting lineup for LSU this year. He has a bad tendency to throw late over the middle when pressured, leading to turnovers or potential turnovers. He also throws contested passes that end up as near turnovers. Obviously, 2 pretty serious issues that need to be corrected, and the 2 reasons why LSU needed Jaden Daniels at quarterback this year. Jaden Daniels answered the bell when his name was called. Jaden Daniels is not only the most outstanding player in college football this year, but he is also the most valuable. He deserves to win the Heisman in 2023, and hopefully the voters made the right decision. Otherwise, Otherwise, we'll have the biggest controversy in college football since last week. Thank you for your time.